So, Antonio Conte, doing his best to talk himself out of a job, it seems. Here he is talking with the national press post-match at Southampton.
I think that it's much better now to go into the problem, okay? Because the problem is that for another time we show that we are not a team. We are 11 players that go into the pitch, and I see selfish players. I see players that don't want to help each other, don't put the heart. And first of today, I prefer to hide the situation and to try with to speak, to try to improve the spirit situation with the words, with a lot of situation, because about tactical or technical aspect, this one situation. The most important thing, if you want to become a strong team, if you want to become competitive, you want to fight to win, is the desire, the fire that you need to have in your eyes, in your heart, and you have to show this in every moment, Instead, if I have to compare last season, this season, I think that instead to improve, now we are worse under this aspect. And when you are not a team, and then everything can happen in every moment. Today is the last situation, and don't remember that in FA Cup we lost against Sheffield United. That played with the young players. We were able with a strong team to be dropped in FA Cup, and then a lot of situations, I repeat, that we are not going to improve. And I'm not speaking about tactical aspect or technical aspect. About to be team. This is the most important thing. To understand that we play for the badge. We have to play to make our fans proud of us. You have to play to show desire. The fire in your eyes to win. If you have this, for sure, you don't go out in FA Cup. Today you win. Maybe previously in the other games, maybe something can change. But here we are used for a long time, and then it's the club has the responsibility for the transfer market. Every coach that stay here has the responsibility. And the players? The players? Where are the players? About my experience, I can tell you that if you want to be competitive, if you want to fight, you have to improve under this aspect. And now this aspect, for me, in this moment, is really, really low. And I see only 11 players that play for themselves. Yeah.
This is a difficult question to ask, but do you think your position, the uncertainty of your future...
But you are finding an alibi, another alibi. You try to find alibi or an excuse for the players. Okay, continue to do this, to find excuse for the players. You do only this. Excuse for the players. Yeah, but the players maybe my future, and then okay, they lost confidence, they lost spirit, they lost to be a team. Excuse. Try to protect every time, and this situation. Come on. We are professional. We paid. The club paid us a lot of money. The players receive money. Me receive money. You understand? Not to find excuse and don't have spirit or don't show the sense of belongings. or don't show sense of responsibility? Because we are showing this. And for me, this is unacceptable for me. Because this is the first time in my career to see a situation like this. And until now, I wasn't able to change. Not to change, but compare last season, the situation went to become worst. They don't play, they don't want to play under pressure. They don't want to play under stress. Yeah, it's easy in this way. And Tottenham's story is this. 20 years that there is the owner and never won something. But why? Only for the fault is only for the club or for every manager that stay here. And I have seen the manager that Tottenham had on the bench. You risk to disrupt the figure of the manager and to protect the other situation in every moment. And now, until now, I try to hide the situation. But now, no. Because I repeat, I don't want to see what I have seen today. Because this is unacceptable. Also for the respect for the fans. They follow us, pay the ticket, and to see the team another time, to have this type of performance, for me, I repeat, this is unacceptable. And we have to think a lot. We have to think a lot about this. I say that I want to see the fire into the eyes. I want to see the fire into the heart. I want to see the right spirit, okay? And not only in the training session, into the pitch. Because here you have to make the difference. And I'm not seeing this. And until now, I try to hide the situation. But now, there are 10 games to go, and something thinks that we can fight. We can fight for what? With this spirit, with this attitude, with this commitment. For what? For the 7th, 8th place, 9th place? I'm not used to this position. I'm really upset. And everybody has to take the responsibility, not only the club, not only the manager, the staff. The player has to be involved in this situation. Because it's time to change the situation if Tottenham wants to change. If they want to continue in this way, they can change manager, a lot of manager, but the situation cannot change. Believe me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Conte. Yes, good morning. Daniel Levy. Yes, boss. Thank you. But your number is up.
What does your journalist head say?
I love watching somebody as honest as he has been.
Passionate.
And telling it as it is rather than trying to hide it. On the other hand, the bigger picture, and Spurs fans will probably warm to that because he's actually called 1 or 2 out. No, he's called 11 out.
Yes.
7 of which I think he signed. You made that point earlier in that team today. But they've still got Europe to fight for. The bigger picture is that Spurs need to keep that group as strong as they can and as a collective, surely long enough, to try to finish 4th this season. Now look, he's just ripped into them about a lack of heart and a lack of desire. Can I ask you, was this a penalty? Okay, and I'll follow up with the next question in a moment.
Well, I think it's as soft as you're going to get, right? I think it's as soft as you're going to get because I like a lot of people, I'm not sure if any contact was made with Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
So my next point is, you've been 3-1 up.
Yeah.
It's 3-2 at this stage. You're in stoppage time. You're playing a team that's fighting for their very lives.
Yes.
And if that's not given, and there's an argument that it shouldn't have been, you come away with a 3-2 win. What's the problem then?
Yeah, but there's not, well, that's if they had come away with the 3-2 win, you're right. But I know what you're saying. So what you're saying is, OK, it's in the 93rd minute.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that doesn't get given. So they win 3-2.
Yes.
And maybe Conte's right.
No, maybe Conte is not right because his team have actually performed well enough to come away from Southampton with a win. I mean, the margins, Andy, are so
yes, they are.
That decision there has brought about that reaction from him.
No, that reaction from there is not just about today. It's not about today. It's about this season. I'm convinced of it.
Then
his attitude, that has built up, Richard. And I think what that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
That. I think that was what that was today. And it's almost like it's been building up. And he's wanted to say something, right? But because of the position, as you say, 4th, going for Champions League, he's resisted. He's tried to keep them going, keep them ticking over. That today, as he said, he used the word many times, is unacceptable for him and Tottenham.
But
I know what you're saying, but I think it's been building up.
I agree. But why choose today when they were a whisker away from what would have been a really, really good win? Southampton are all right, they're bottom, but they're in the 2-horse races, you always say there's a 50-50 chance.
Well,
and
listen,
you're leading there at the stoppage
Bournemouth
time.
beat Liverpool last week.
Yeah, well, I mean...
No, I think, honestly, Richard, I think he's had a lot of trouble. He's had a lot of trauma, his operations, and he's lost some dear friends who have passed away this year as well. So he's had a lot on his head and a lot on his mind recently. And I think all of that might have just depleted him a little bit. But that reaction today, that reaction I've just listened to, was the reaction of someone who's been building it up, and now was the time to deliver it. He went in there and he thought, this is it, it's today.
With, as he says, 10 crucial games to go between now and the end of the season. And from Daniel Levy's perspective, all his budgets, I guess, will have been made on the basis that they qualify for the Champions League. The debt that they have hanging around their neck for that stadium is huge.
I know.
So you're now getting what kind of response from players?
That's the key.
Well, I was going to say from players that historically have been Spursy. Does he think he's going to change that with a 10-minute rant?
Part of that today might have been, let me see, reaction. Are you going to roll up your sleeves and work your socks off and try and get his 4th position? Or are you going to hide under a rock and disappear? You know, so what you've got to do there is hope. He's hoping that when they come back from that break, the international break, that he sees a response.
And you know what they're thinking? They're hoping when they come back from that
international
break, he's not there.
Why would you change now?
Yes, I would, because I think it's. I repeat, from my perspective, that's food and drink to the boys, and will make headlines, of course, and more beyond the back pages tomorrow. But I think from at the perspective of Daniel Levy and those that own the football club, that's almost an uncontrolled meltdown at a critical time of the season. And I think the players probably will react better to another face and voice for 8 or 10 games than they will that. Well, because I return to my point. They are a controversial decision away from a really good win today. What more can he have asked for from them?
Well, he couldn't if they'd have won. But it would have come. It would have come, Richard. I'm telling you now, that's been in there. You can tell. It was almost like releasing a valve and his head exploded and out it came. What do
you make if you're watching that?
If I'm watching that, well, listen, I don't know what the personality of the players is, but if I'm watching that, I know he wasn't talking about me. And I know Harry Kane, and know he's not talking about him.
By the way, he was, because he talked about 11 individuals.
Yeah, I know he did. But he knows himself. There are ones that he can rely on there. People like Højbjerg, you can't criticise his attitude at all. Right? You can't. Harry Kane, you can't criticise Harry's attitude at all. There are 1 or 2 others there. But there are probably half a dozen or more, right, that he's aimed at. And I think he wants to see, am I going to get a reaction from you guys? Am I going to see something that I haven't seen this season often enough? Because what you did today is not good. And yes, they were minutes away from a really good result, but the performance was nowhere near good enough.
Well, I was just about to ask you that. At 3-1,
they were okay.
That's a very comfortable day out.
Yeah.
At 3-2, you're still winning into stoppage time. What else could they have done today beyond
not today.
What they did?
Not today. As I keep repeating it, not today. This is not about today. It's about all the other times where we've watched them at what I was going to say, the Tottenham Stadium go 2-0 down and be absolutely hopeless in the first half, to come out second half and be a different team. How many times have we seen that? So he sees that week in, week out. And there must be something wrong. He can't get a tune out his team for 90 minutes. And that's the worrying fact of the matter for me.
So who does he blame for that?
Well, he's got a lot to blame for it.
Well,
he does the recruitment.
There we are.
Yeah, of course. I think he accepts responsibility. He said that. he accepts responsibility. The coaching staff, they have got to get tactics and technique right, as he said. But he wasn't blaming that. He's blaming more an attitude and a mental, I was going to say mental fragility. Yeah, he probably is questioning a lot of the players.
That same mental fragility has seen them trail in too many games this year, but they've changed gear at half-time and come out and put on some really good performances. And they sit fourth. It's not as though they are 7th or 8th, as he suggested. They're 4th at a crucial time of the season.
But the pressure's building, isn't it? The pressure's building because...
Well, is he not able to handle that?
Well, yeah, he should handle it. He's been everywhere, hasn't he? He's been all over the world at the best clubs. So he's managed to take Chelsea to the title. He's done it with Juventus. You know, he can handle pressure. That's nothing to do with him. But what I'm saying, the pressure is building up on the top 4 because Newcastle look like they've found their feet again. They might be making a challenge. Liverpool might be making a challenge. So the pressure is building on Tottenham.
Well, yeah,
and
do
you know what he knows, Richard? See that performance today, right? That's not getting them top 4.
No, but if we just go back even 48 hours, Liverpool are coming off the back of a 1-0 defeat at Bournemouth. So they're not threatening in a way that would lead you to conclude they are certs.
No,
Manchester United are in and out.
Well, that's
look what happened to them at Anfield
3.
after winning the trophy. Newcastle United, up until this weekend, you're saying they've hit the wall, they've gone. Well, Spurs are only, you know, 4th of a quartet that aren't in great form consistently.
No.
I don't understand why now. I think, yeah, I hear what you're saying about it. It's been building, but would he have come out and said those very same things if they'd won today 3-2? And they only drew today as a result of a really controversial award of a penalty later.
It's a good question that I can't answer. I don't know what he would have done, whether he would have. But what I'm saying is, if they'd have won today, right, here we go. If he'd done today, he wouldn't have come out and said that, right? Because as he said in his interview there, he's been hiding it for some time now. So he told us what was happening. He told us how he's felt over the last few months, that he's hid it and protected, and why are you looking for excuses for the players? You know, why is it always an excuse? Why is it always an excuse? And I think that had they won today, he'd have suppressed his desire.
Do you think he's unwell?
Well, he's been unwell.
Well,
it doesn't look great.
That's part of my thinking. That's why if I'm Daniel Levy, I'm saying, listen, Antonio, it's been great.
Yeah.
But you've obviously been under a lot of pressure. It's been a difficult season for you one way and another. This is a multi-million pound gamble for us over the next 10 days.
Yes.
10 games. I honestly don't think you're the man.
I think it's watched this space as far as Spurs are concerned over the weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
Over this break. They've got 2 weeks. If they want to move somebody, they've got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They've got 2 weeks. But the trouble is, Richard, where do you go? You know, where do you go?
Well, you don't. You've got plenty from inside the club that you could turn to for this period of time.
Really?
Well, look what they did prior.
His men are going to go.
Yeah.
If Conte goes, so are his men.
And that would be no bad thing, I think, for most of the playing staff. But look what happened ahead of the League Cup final.
Yeah.
They sacked Mourinho in that same week.
Yeah, they did. They did.
What was his name? Ryan Mason, who was in charge of the academy?
Yeah.
So he's still there.
That's a bigger gamble for me. Well, at least with Conte, you know you have a genuine manager of quality and experience who knows how to get the job done. Now,
but you also know that you've got an individual that is prone to that.
Yeah.
You've got an individual that, and we know this because we've been told by some that have worked with and for him, is unpredictable.
Yeah.
We also know that it's likely that he will be texting players at 2 and 3 in the morning, offering them a day off maybe tomorrow, or changing his mind on a day off he's given them for tomorrow and now he wants them in. I think the way he runs a football club eventually
catches up with him. 18 months though, is that?
In a modern game, it's probably not.
I know
from
what we hear, he's hugely intensive about his training and his players and demands so much from him in that. And, you know, players can tire of that sort of thing. There's no doubt about it. But he's freshened up that squad. You touched on it. 7 players at the starting lineup today we think he's brought into the club.
I have to say, there are times, Andy, you can look at a football team and you can say they've down tools. You can see that they're not playing for... I didn't see that from Tottenham today.
No.
I did not see a team that in any way didn't want to win that, represent the jersey in the manner that he's accused them of not doing so, or try to get out of there with 3 points. At 3-1 I thought, job done, comfortable day.
I did as well. Well, but that's the case for it. It should have been job done. And I think that's what annoys him.
At 3-2 it was job done.
That's what
until the ref
riles him.
comes up with that decision.
You know, that's what really makes him annoyed. That he's felt that, and I say to you, it's been a long time coming, this. You can just tell that's not just something that he thought about today. Because he's hid it, he's suppressed it, he probably 10 games ago wanted to say that.
Yeah, which is why I'm thanking him for his time and all the effort that he's put into my football club.
Yeah.
And I'm inviting him to leave 10 games sooner than he's planning to at the moment, I think, because this has no future.
Do you think that was a resignation speech then?
No future.
Was it smacking of a resignation speech?
Well, as I said to you earlier, if his contract wasn't running out at the end of this season, that is a coach looking to try to get the sack. But he knows he's going anyway. Yeah. So perhaps that's another motivation, and he thinks, I can now say this because I am done here. You know, there are other jobs I'm sure that he'll walk into. But I don't get it on the back of a game that really they'd done quite well in, and had all but won.
But it's not that, honestly. That's the last straw, and I think he wants a reaction. It will be interesting. It will be interesting in 2 weeks' time when we start back again, right? What they perform like. Really interesting if he's still there.
Well, if he's having to go at the players in that manner, that he's accusing them of being selfish and only playing for themselves, then he's bought the wrong types.
Yep.
And he's responsible for, as I say, off the top of my head, 7 of that starting 11 today are down to him. So I can't see any of them responding to that in a way that he would want them to.
Well,
they're just
gone.
Yeah,
down.
the wrong.